Hello, sir.
Hello there.
Hey, how are you doing? All right, my friend. I think we are ready to jump in.
Konnichiwa.
Welcome to Just Curious Media. This is Let's Talk Cobra Kai. I'm Jason Connell.
And I'm Sal Rodriguez.
All right, Sal. We are back for another very special episode.
Do you feel like our listeners are like, wow,
They're
another special
all
episode?
special.
But they are very special when you
Hey, that's
consider
what
the
I'm saying.
context,
It's
when you
there's not a
consider
better
where.
word.
No, it's because it's the absolute truth. It's not just embellishment. They are very special episodes. And that's why, when I call our podcast the number one Cobra Kai podcast, I'm not saying it to put down any other podcast.
No.
I'm saying it because I believe no other podcast of the Miyagi verse is as thorough and as comprehensive as ours.
I like that. Will you leave a review for us?
I will leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts.
Very nice. I totally agree. And why is it special, Sal? Because we are coming back and exploring something from the past, and that is the Karate Kid Part 2, 1986, scene by scene breakdown re-release.
Wow.
A re-release of our scene by scene breakdown, Sal, which was episode 22 in our Cobra Kai, Let's Talk Cobra Kai universe. And we recorded that episode so long ago, I can't believe it. Do you remember when?
Well, I know it was a very interesting time for everyone
Yes,
across
it
the
was.
globe, and
Everywhere.
which, because of the time frame we're dealing with, makes this even more significant. Because I think I remember I was just like quarantining and pandemicing, and you called me. You're like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was like, "What do you mean? What am I doing? I'm locking myself in my room. That's what I'm doing."
Let's get that scene by scene breakdown of the Karate Kid underneath our belt. Yes, it
Yep.
was April
Yep.
11th, 2020.
Wow.
Pandemic starts in March. We're all on lockdown. Still living in Los Angeles.
Yep.
And not only were on pandemic lockdown, there were riots out of the gate. So we had curfews.
Oh, that's right.
It was a crazy, crazy time. In fact,
Yes.
that's when I started Let's Talk Movies, because I was like, what am I going to do? Sal and I can't do episodes of Let's Talk Cobra Kai. There were no episodes and we weren't doing special episodes yet.
Not
So
yet.
I started Let's Talk Movies just to keep my sanity. And then it was like, well, hey, we're doing this model, the same scene by scene breakdown. Let's get Karate Kid, part two in the bag. So we recorded that night. However, truth be told,
Yes.
April 4th, 2020, we actually did it for the first time.
Yeah.
We recorded 2 times because it was this was the first thing that I had done remote. So
Yes.
I take that back. I wanted to do this and I was excited, and then quickly spawned Let's Talk Movies. But I had to figure out the technology.
Wait a second. This was our first remote recording from one another when you and I were not in the same room.
Right.
That's right. Yes.
Because
Wow.
I had to figure out how to do it, how to record remotely.
Yep.
And it was like, I was thinking, I'll use this software, I'll use this. Well, in the end, recording remotely was the way to do it. Like we both record remote, I get the files and we have high res. But I tried a service, and this is a long time ago. Services have improved. Everybody was scrambling, and we recorded it, and I started to edit it, and it sounded just mechanical. And I'm really into audio and just production value. And I was like, oh, Sal, I cannot edit that.
Yeah.
We weren't like, but it was just some tones and some things cut out. I thought, you know what, it's probably better off just to do it and do it right. And you were down with it, and we hit it out of the park again. So maybe someday I'll release that version.
That's funny. Yeah, the original version,
the alt version.
Are they different other than quality? Are they?
I
different?
only got so far in and we moved on. So I remember coming back and doing it again and feeling we had, it was what, 7 days later.
Yeah.
So we did bring it. We brought the goods. We were excited again because it was a couple of hours. Speaking of which, the running time was 2 hours and 38 minutes. The movie, Sal, guess how long the part 2, I was gonna say the next Karate Kid, the Karate Kid part 2 is? What's the running time for that?
Well, if our running time for the show was 2:38, I'm gonna assume that it was around 2 hours.
No. Well, yes. Hour 53.
Okay.
So the first Karate Kid was over 2 hours, just over. This is the
Yes.
sequel. It's a little under, but yet we went longer.
Well, because here's what starts. Okay, here's where we see what happens is the reservoir starts increasing. And before you know it, look at where we are today. Look at how much history and legacy we have to pull from. And as a matter of fact, now that you mention it, if we were to go back to any of these movies today, let alone Karate Kid 2 by itself, it might even be longer because we have so much to draw from today.
That's exactly true. Yes. Yeah. Well, we released this episode, which we're highlighting, re-releasing here, June 19th, 2020. So that is the sequence there. And I was just going to look one thing up really quickly, which is funny. So I had said initially, like, oh, Let's Talk Movies launched and blah, all that was happening around the same time. The first episode of Let's Talk Movies, of which you were on, An American Werewolf in London, 1981, Scene by Scene Breakdown, it came out May 20th, 2020. So ahead of this, but it was recorded after.
I see. Yes.
April 20th, 2020.
Sure.
So again, I learned a lot through that trial and error with the service, decided to record locally, get you set up as well. And then we were off to the races. So yes, this was a big thing, a big touchstone. And it was way before Netflix got involved with Cobra Kai. I just knew I wanted to do the sequel, and we had no episodes. We were not exploring anything else in the Miyagi verse at that point in time. We were just on hold waiting for season 3. That's all we were.
No, and I have to credit you because, there's been a lot of things I've done professionally since you've reached out to me from the beginning with Let's Talk Cobra Kai and Just Curious Media. And I would say a lot of keeping me loose as a talking head, as an entertainer, as a podcaster, as an actor. I mean, I was sitting around quarantining. That's what I was doing. I was doing nothing.
Yeah.
When you reached out, you're like, hey man, let's do something. I was like, oh yeah, sounds good. But I hadn't thought of that. I hadn't thought of that.
Well, thank you. And Sal, you're welcome. No, I'm just kidding. So this is the summary of our episode that is out there. So again, the plan last episode, we were re-releasing the Karate Kid Scene by Scene Breakdown. The plan is to put all of the franchise, the trilogy, by the way, this is the poster over my shoulder there. The Karate Kid Part 2 poster.
That's Part 2.
Beautiful.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, beautiful poster. But for some reason, I don't know why I expected to see like other people, like maybe see Sato on there or something.
No, they kept it clean.
It's just the two of them. Okay.
But the plan is to put those and the next Karate Kid, because we did do a scene by scene breakdown, in order this April. Boom, 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 boom. How many? That's too many booms. Boom, 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 boom. But that way our fans can easily find it, revisit it. It's not just, and think about this backstory about it now. We weren't doing the just curious yet. I mean, there's so many wrinkles. The intro was different. The outro was different. Heck, this was only episode 22, Sal. So it's just funny to go back and go, oh my gosh, yeah, it's just a little different. We've evolved in a good way, but I'm so proud of where we were. And this is a chance to kind of reintroduce that. And I think it's great. And, we should go back and listen to them as well and enjoy them as well. And then maybe someday one fan said, hey, you should just do the Cobra Kai all over again. And from today's viewpoint, it's like, yeah, that rewatch is a bit more to chew on and bite off, but maybe we do that at some point in time.
Wait, you're talking about all the Cobra Kai episodes?
Yeah, someone had mentioned that.
A redo of the Cobra Kai episodes?
Yeah,
Let's Talk Cobra Kai?
Yeah.
Wow. I wouldn't be against that. I would not be against that.
It could be fun. Wherever it winds up and then go back and watch it. Yeah, it could be a lot of fun. But,
it would be fun. I would not be against that. It would just be a matter of time and logistics.
Yeah, and money.
No.
You charge now. I mean, money.
Now you have to pay me by the hour. But aside from that, yeah.
So this is the summary. This is what's out there. And it will be on this episode as well. But Jason Connell and Sal Rodriguez break down the classic movie and talk about visiting Okinawa, the end of Cobra Kai, and Peter Cetera's Glory of Love.
Ah, very sweet. Because one of the reasons why the Karate Kid 2 is especially near and dear to me, because I have visited Okinawa and have been in the very spot where, what's it called? Toshio Village? Is it Toshio Village?
I'd have to look and see.
Okay. Where Miyagi's hometown is, where he's going back.
Yeah.
That place that is now occupied by Kadena Air Base. I have been there. I have slept there.
Although in the movie, Sal, they're cheating it because they're in
Hawaii. That's true. Yeah. You know what? Here I am always kicking and screaming about Cobra Kai being in Atlanta. And yet they weren't even in Okinawa there.
Yeah.
Jeez. From the beginning, they're messing with our heads.
And I didn't mean to make Peter Cetera sound like Peter was plural. It's Peter Cetera's Glory of Love. But a great song. And Sal, why don't you give us just a little sample?
Just like a knight in shining armor from a long time ago. Like a kid. Oh, I forgot it. I will save the day. Take you to my castle far away. And that part where he says, take you to my castle far away. And they're running right to
castle.
King Yohashi's castle. They must have planned that. They aligned that intentionally. Sure.
Oh, of course. No, it just happened.
It just happened that way.
Oh my gosh. So good. So, there's also a mistake. Mistakes happen, right? You can't edit out everything, especially if you don't know it until many episodes later. But I was still on the trend. I'd call it the minority. I was still calling the South Seas apartments the 7 Seas at that point.
You were still doing it here?
Hey, okay. I'm already hard enough on myself.
You're telling me after all this time, you were still calling.
Episode 22, we weren't that far in. I was on lockdown. I hadn't seen the South Seas apartments in a while, although when we recorded this, Sal, I was only a few miles away. But it's the Mandela effect, of which you put on my radar. I forget. I think I put that on my radar. No, you actually did put that on my radar.
You're Mandela affecting Mandela.
So I went there one day, way before we were even doing the show, took photos. The font's really cool. And in my mind, I connected the Eurythmics song, Sweet Dreams, which they mentioned 7 Seas. And I just converted it. And it wasn't until a few episodes later that we were talking and it just hit me like, oh my gosh, it is South Seas. Of course it is. I knew that. I mixed it. And in some episodes along the journey, it snuck in, and this is definitely one of them because they're at the South Seas apartments in the Karate Kid Part 2. Well, for a little bit, right?
Are they at the South Seas apartment in Part 2?
Actually, I said that out loud, but I'm thinking.
Well, hang on. In your defense, wasn't Miyagi? Oh no, when Miyagi spoke to Lucille, she was in New Jersey.
And actually, it's the third one they go back there. So actually, I don't think there's any scenes there in the Karate
There's
Kid
no
Part
South
2.
Seas in Karate Kid Part 2.
And if there's that flashback in the beginning of the Karate Kid Part 2. There is a flashback, if you recall,
of them moving there.
Well, no, just like a montage of the Karate Kid 1, the original, and the Karate Kid Part 2. Regardless, I was still hanging on to what I thought it was. So there's a mistake. When you hear it, laugh. Let's all laugh at it. We moved on. I finally caught it before the next Karate Kid. Not the next Karate Kid, but the Karate Kid Part 3. It gets tricky. The next Karate Kid. That's its own movie, But anyway, so this is the synopsis for the Karate Kid Part 2. Let's see if this holds up, Sal. Daniel, let me bring this back up. Sorry. Daniel accompanies his mentor, Mr. Miyagi, to Miyagi's childhood home in Okinawa. Miyagi visits his dying father and confronts his old rival, while Daniel falls in love and inadvertently makes a new rival of his own. Well, that's pretty good.
I think it's pretty good. The only thing I would add on that is I think I would just want to mention Yukie.
Yeah.
Because
Kumiko.
Kumiko. Well, no, because Daniel falls in love, mentions Kumiko. Yeah, you can mention Kumiko. And then Miyagi visits his dying father, also rekindles an old flame in Yukie.
Yes,
so I think that little piece could have been added. Otherwise, I think it's a pretty good synopsis.
Well, I would actually go one step further and have a Sato appearance at the end. And he would say what?
Miyagi, come out. Come out.
Yeah. the synopsis would go off the rails at that point in time. But yeah, really well written, because we actually, on the last episode, we read the synopsis from The Karate Kid according to IMDb, and it was a little clunky. Didn't love it. This one's more on point.
This one's a little more streamlined, I think. Yeah.
Sal, why don't you do the honors of just giving us the hit list of all stars who put The Karate Kid Part 2 out there in the universe for us?
Director John G. Avildsen. Writer Robert Mark Kamen. Cinematographer James Crabe. Cast Ralph Macchio, Pat Morita, Nobu McCarthy, Tamlyn Tomita, Danny Kamekona, Yuji Okumoto. Composer Bill Conti. Producer Jerry Weintraub.
Wow. Amazing. Legends. Yeah. We've lost a few of them. Yes. Absolutely. Avildsen, Morita, Weintraub. But
Robert, hang on. Robert Mark Kamen out there living on a vineyard.
Living on the vineyard. Because
he bought a vineyard.
He made. No, actually, he's had an incredible career. But please go explore our Robert Mark Kamen filmography episode.
That's right. We had a special episode dedicated to Robert Mark Kamen. That's true.
So yeah, it's no doubt that this movie was, I wouldn't say it's as good as a sequel. You would.
Hey,
I would say it's a great sequel. And this one could have been a standalone movie. This
I think so.
Could have been a standalone movie. Many sequels try to recreate the original, and yeah, there are some components in here that there's eye rolls in this movie. A few. Sato's kind of one note until he's not, and he turns a corner in a half second. It's like,
he does like a Christmas Carol, Ebenezer Scrooge, 180.
Boop. And Chosen's just too bad. It's like there's nothing redeeming about him, which is shocking that he has come back and rehabilitated himself in such a way on Cobra Kai, because he was like as bad as it gets, and just there's not 1 ounce of goodness in him.
Wait, but hang on a second. Just 1 second, Jason.
Okay.
I agree with you. He was, a one-note bad guy, but at the very end, we see his fear. Doesn't that open up a little bit of sympathy for us? Just a little bit. He starts to have, he has a breakdown is what he has at the end. And he runs off, right?
Or he gets beat up. So,
but doesn't he just like, hey, you remember what Sato's like, go save that kid?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm out of here. He like took off running, didn't he? Oh no, he just kind of turned his back and cowered. What did he do? He showed cowardice is what he did.
No, but then he tries to kill them at the bone dance.
Oh yeah, that was later.
I was like, wait, no,
you're right. He didn't learn his lesson at all.
No, he ends on like, God, that guy tried to murder everybody.
Okay, you're right.
That's what I'm saying.
I was just thinking of that one scene, like being the end. That wasn't the end.
But that motivated him to like, well, if I can't get my uncle's respect, I'm gonna kill some people.
Okay,
slow down.
So at that moment was his opportunity to do a turn. We'll feel sorry for him. We'll forgive him, and we'll move along.
Yeah.
So it took years to do that. It took decades to do that.
So anyway, incredible film. It really is. Holds up. And we are promoting our scene-by-scene breakdown of that. We hope you enjoy it. We really do. We're going to listen to it again ourselves and hopefully not cringe too much. But a lot of fun. And it was our first, like, not in the same studio recording. What's crazy, Sal, is since that time, we have only recorded together 1 time in person since then, and like hundreds remote. So this set the stage. This put that technology in motion. Now we have full-fledged studios, and that was it. It's a game changer. We could have hung them up, and that would have been the end of Just Curious. But no, Just Curious Media turned a corner, and we're still going.
And look at you're now sitting in a professional sound booth.
Hey.
There could be leaf blowers behind your back. I'd never know.
Yeah, exactly. It is. What can I say? It took some time. So without further ado, please enjoy
The Karate Kid Part 2.
So thank you so much for listening, and please be sure to subscribe to the Let's Talk Cobra Kai podcast and the Let's Talk Cobra Kai YouTube live channel. You can also really help us by giving the show a 5-star rating on Apple Podcast.
And for all you listeners that enjoy sharing your thoughts, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, send us a direct message, or post a comment on any Let's Talk Cobra Kai social media platform.
We also highly recommend checking out our other podcast and visiting justcuriousmedia.com.
no mercy.
Good job.
And I am stopping audition.